This is Dominic. Dominic works at a 5-star restaurant called the Pixel Palace. There, some of video games' most popular characters come in to have a drink. Sometimes they share stories and even secrets, for as we all know, what the bartender hears is confidential, isn't it?
So I'm sitting there tending bar when in walks someone who's usually a pretty intimidating customer, Solid Snake. Usually not a lot of people really talk to Solid Snake. He seems to always want to be alone, and he's certainly dressed to indicate that he wants to be alone. So he sits down, orders a drink, and I notice he's carrying his box with him. And it's one thing to carry a box around every once in a while, that's already strange, but he carries it everywhere, to parties, to get-togethers, just everywhere you can imagine. He always has that box with him. And everybody's seen him with that box, and yet nobody ever questions him, and I don't know, dressed like that, I guess I wouldn't question him either, but today, I was feeling pretty ballsy. I decided I'm gonna ask him about this. So, I'll approach him and I'll say, Mr. Snake, I'm sorry, I'll calibrate the eyes here. What's up with the box? And he looks at me and says, nobody's ever asked that before. I think they're just too intimidated. And I said, did I do the right thing? And he says, you did the right thing. And I'll tell you why I always carry it around. It's my security blanket. And I said, really? I wouldn't think a man like you would have a security blanket. He says, well, this is mine. Box is a proud piece of art. You can do anything with it. You can hide in it. You can build a fort out of it. Even, dare I say it, you can pack things in it. It's my closest friend, has helped me through all sorts of troubles. I said, well, fair enough, but Mr. Snake, you're a grown man. Grown men can't be seen carrying a box around all this time. I mean, doesn't it seem a bit childish? Don't you think you should move on? He says, did you know that my parents were murdered in front of my eyes? I said, no, I didn't know that at all. And he said when he was only 5 years old, a burglar broke into his house. And his mom and dad said, hide under this box and don't come out, no matter what. And I said, Jesus, what happened? And he said, I hid in that box. I didn't come out for anything. But I could see in the little slit, you know, where you put your hands in to carry the box. I saw everything that happened. And yeah, he shot them down. He shot them both. But he wasn't just a traditional robber. You see, he had weird mental issues. He did all sorts of strange things. And I said, like what? What did he do? He said, well, he got the hat and cane and started dancing on top of their bodies. I guess he had some sort of condition where after he killed people, he liked to tap dance on top of their corpses. And I said, Lord, that's the worst thing I've ever heard in my life. And he says, it doesn't stop there. Then put his hand in the bags, he started using them as a puppet show. Like the Muppets, actually. You know that pigs in space routine they used to do all the time? Yeah, he reenacted that with my parents' bodies. And just to make things worse, he made my mother one of the male pigs and made my father Miss Piggy. My father is not Miss Piggy. I said, oh no, your father's not Miss Piggy. And I said, well, gee, I can't imagine a 5-year-old boy watching this in front of his eyes. And he says, it gets worse. After he did the puppet show with my parents, he took them up and he started using them as nunchucks. Like he was a ninja, you know? Bruce Lee, I think, he was making all those weird sounds like the whoa. He slammed them into the vase, he slammed them into the picture frames, he slammed them all over the place. And I said, Mr. Snake, I'm so sorry, I had no idea you went through all this. He says, it gets worse. After he did the nunchuck bit, he opened up my parents, took out all the bones, and started playing the xylophone with their rib cages. Under the Sea, actually, from The Little Mermaid. I don't think that movie came out yet, but he saw one of the VHS previews and they had the song on there, and yeah, I guess he really liked the tune. And I said, Mr. Snake, for the love of God, tell me it doesn't get any worse, and he says it gets worse. After he played the xylophone with my parents' skeletons, he took what was remaining of their bodies, threw it in a blender, pissed into it, and then blended them together and drank their remains. He had a unique name for it, actually. I believe it was called Two Dead Parents Mixed with My Stinky Yellow Urine. He then took the change from my piggy bank and he pissed off. And I'm standing there dumbfounded hearing this story. I just couldn't believe what he was saying. and he looks me in the eye and says, "So, if it's alright with you, is it okay if I continue to carry my box around without getting any questions about it? I mean, if it's alright with you?" And I said, "Yeah, I think that's alright, Mr. Snake Eye. I think that's alright." Well, I never felt more terrible than I did that day. I was a right bloody bastard. I remember Mario came up after him and he pointed to Snake and he said, "Boy, what's up with the guy with the box?" And I said, "Don't ask." And he said, "Why not?" And I said, "Because he just might tell you." You see a lot of strange things as a bartender. You see a lot of strange things at the Pixel Palace. So, I'll see a lot of strange things as a bartender at the Pixel Palace. And that ain't no lie. So wait a minute.